What's up? Welcome back to the Crank Little Corset Podcast. We are on episode 3. What do you call it? Last week I almost freaking deleted this YouTube channel. Just quit this podcast altogether because last Friday I was not feeling it. And when I started this podcast, specifically last week, so my first episode of this podcast I recorded, I think, on a Saturday. And then the second episode I recorded on a Friday. And after editing that episode and uploading it, I was like, I want to do I think it was after I recorded that, I was like, I would love to do these podcasts on Friday, because I get out of school pretty early, and normally when I get out of school, I don't really want to do anything with school, at least for like the first 2 to 3 hours out of school. And so I was like, what a freaking perfect time, to record a podcast. And then Friday came around last week and I was like, fuck podcasting, just fuck the podcast. I think it was because last Friday I felt a little overwhelmed. 2018 for me has been the first year, I want to say in a while, but I don't think it's in a while. I think, honestly, it might be the first year for me where I feel as though there's, like, no hours and I'm doing a ton of shit. Like, no hours in the day and I'm doing a lot. Which, I know that, I think I mentioned this at some point in this podcast. If not, well, I'm mentioning it right now. But I like, the moment where I feel as though I'm getting older is when, like, the moment that I felt like I was getting old was when I realized that there doesn't seem to be too many hours in the day. And this semester, this year specifically, it's been that, I've been doing a lot of shit. And I'm actually, like, I don't feel overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like, 90% of the time, I don't feel overwhelmed with some of the stuff that I'm doing. Like, I'm doing this podcast. And I love it today. Like Friday, I fucking hated it. I was like, I'm going to quit podcasting. It's just an hour that in my life that I just don't have to dedicate to just talking about bullshit. And then Saturday, I was really busy. And so today's Sunday. So I was like, you know what? I'm feeling a podcast. I'm going to record it. But I'm doing a podcast. I stream on twitch.tv. Going to shout myself out here. 4 to 5 days a week for about 2.5, 3 hours. And I'm going to school. I go to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I study. I spend time with my family. I've started spending more time with my family now a little bit. Something that I've noticed that I've been doing recently. Not that I never have, like I haven't, or I didn't. There wasn't a few years where I didn't spend time with them. But I don't know. Recently, what I've noticed is that like, I'll chill in my mom's room when my mom and my sister are in there and just hang out with them for a little bit. Or I'll head over to my grandmother's house and just talk with her. Me and her rant about politics left and right. Left and fucking right. Like, I'll walk in, I'll be like, what do you think of Trump? And then, like, we go into this. I also, spend time with Luz. And I've gotten into music production recently. I've been getting into music production. So, like, and just a little announcement, at least for this, I am officially a substitute teacher. So I'm going to start substitute teaching this year as well. Probably like in the next like month and a half. But yeah, so like I feel as though I'm doing a ton of shit. And I thought like, growing up, I was like scared of this, but I actually feel great. I'm also working out. Like, god damn, I feel, now that I think about it, after talking about it, I feel fucking amazing. I'm doing a lot of stuff, and probably all the stuff that I'm doing, I'm not, the only place where I'm actually going anywhere with anything is school and substitute and teaching, because if you don't know, I want to be a teacher, a middle school teacher, which I know everybody freaks out about, which, it's understandable, I get that, I get middle school kids. I mean, everybody's been a middle school kid at one point or another where hormones were bouncing off the walls. Guys were wanting to fuck everything. Girls' periods started, crying, cramping, realizing what your body was doing. girls also wanting to probably fuck guys, boobs getting bigger, testicles getting huger. Like, everybody's been there, you know? But whenever I say that to somebody, people freak out. They're like, holy shit, dude, middle school? You want to teach middle school, bro? That is crazy. You are insane. I wish you the best of luck. And it's like, yeah, middle school has its problems, but I've done some surveying here and there, and honestly, I mean, some kids can be harder to deal with, but as a whole, like, they're not awful. You know, I thought it was going to be way worse. My first day of surveying one of my old teachers, I was like, this actually, like, I mean, you know, I got toasted a little bit by some of the kids, you know, whether they were like roasting me or whether they were just constantly asking me questions and stuff and staring at me. But then by the second time I surveyed, it was like, you know, I was just one of those people in there, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, out of everything that I'm doing, definitely where strides are being taken is for my future career. So I mean that's a positive. That's a positive. I'm not denying that. You know, I'm not denying that at all. It actually makes me sound like an asshole to be like, yeah, everything I'm doing, the only thing I'm taking strides in is my fucking career. Like, well, which actually doesn't even sound awful at all. That's like, everybody would be like, congratulations, dude, you're going somewhere with your career, or your future career, you know. Anyways, I hope you're doing well. I hope your week was well. But yeah, music production. I've been doing music production. I don't know what music production. Me and music production have been waves and waves of like doing it and not doing it. So I got into music production my first year of college. I don't know what semester I was in. I think I was in fall semester. Was like, what I did was I spent, I think, $150, $165 on Cubase, which if you don't know is a DAW, which if you don't know what a DAW is, a digital audio workstation. I think that's what it is. But, well, I think that's at least the name. If not, I'm really, really close with it. But what a DAW is, it's basically what people use to produce, well, what electronic producers use to produce music, as well as, you know, singer and songwriters use to also, you know, make music. Even if they have instruments, you know, you normally like record an instrument in a DAW. You know what I mean? So I did that my first semester, and I was such an idiot when I got into producing music. Like, looking back on it, I was a crazy idiot, because what I did was I was into tropical house during that time, and I still sort of like tropical house, but I've sort of moved away from that genre because some of the artists that I listen to have either fallen off and not produced any more music, or they just have moved away from tropical house itself as well. But what I did when I first got that program was that I was listening to tropical house, and I was like, I'm going to make tropical house. And instead of like looking up tutorials of how to use the program and, you know, just like practicing, I just wanted to make music right off the bat. So after I realized that I fucking suck at this, I quit. And then I think after that, I think my brother got into music production, and he like used a bunch of free apps, and he made some pretty decent music on like free app music. Well, like free apps. I think what he did was that he like compiled a list of samples. Like, so if I remember, he like took samples, threw them into his free app DJ production, music production app, and he'd like make like 4-minute songs with it, and it was actually pretty good. And then I got into FL Studio. So he quit, and I got into FL Studio, and I pitched him the idea. I think this was like my third year in college now. Not my third year. Was it my third year? Might have been my 2.5 year of college. And I pitched him the idea. I'm like, why don't we both like make music together and be like a duo? And he's like, okay. And he did nothing with it. And because he didn't do anything with it, I didn't do anything with it. Well, I worked on it a little bit, but then I quit. And then the last semester, I was like, okay, Alex, you're going to get into music production, and you're going to sit your ass down, and you're actually going to work on it, you know? So fall 2017, And I probably did. I think what happened was that I made 2 decent beats, and then I couldn't come up with a melody for like 3 days, and so then I quit. And recently I got back into it, you know? And any person that like could look at this statistically would be like, you're going to quit it pretty fucking soon, dude. I'm trying, like, I'm working in GarageBand now. Love GarageBand. And I'm actually like, I'm like really focusing on it, you know? I'm taking time to learn stuff. I'm taking time to make like beat patterns, because I think out of all the music production out there, like out of all the things you do in music production, my weakest part is making beats. You know, I don't know, like I can start with a kick, but I can't layer. You know, I don't know how to layer the snare on the kick and then the hi-hat and then claps, and you know, but recently I've been getting somewhere with it, but that's my biggest problem with it. But yeah, I've been using GarageBand, and it's been working out. It's actually been working out a little bit. You know, I've been sort of taking it in baby steps, you know, dedicating about 2.5 hours a day to it, and not trying to make a song, just trying to get the basics down. And that's what I probably should have done all the other times that I decided to get into music production, was actually sit down and, you know, learn the program and come up with drum patterns. Just drum patterns. Not even try to make a song, just drum patterns. Add in background noise, like background synths to the drum patterns. Add a melody on the drum patterns, you know, and get at this, and then eventually be like, all right, let's sit down and make a song, you know? That's how I should have done it, and now I'm finally doing it, and I sort of feel like, I know this is probably the worst mindset to have when it comes to anything, but I feel as though I'm like getting too old to really get into making music. I'm 21, you know? That actually hit me. That idea, which I know it's probably one of the worst thoughts to ever have. You don't ever want to have that thought, at least until you're like 65 and probably looking at life and being like, I can't wait to fucking retire, or I'm retired and I just love my life. Which, I can't wait to retire. Well, give or take. Like, had you asked me what am I most looking forward to probably 2 years ago, I would have been like, I just can't wait to retire. I can't wait to get my job, my career, and then retire. And because when I retire, I was like, I'm going to play video games. I'm going to go watch movies. I'm going to just do nothing. I'm just going to rot away. I'm going to rot away, just die. Probably have arthritis up the wazoo. My freaking knees are going to like look like the size of my head. But yeah. But I don't know why. Like, and I'm young. I don't even know why the thought was coming to me, but I think it was because I was watching interviews with DJs, you know, well, some of my favorite music producers, and they were like one of my favorite music producers, his name is Puppet. He's a great artist, amazing. He did like a live stream on Facebook, and he's like, hey guys, if you're like in your 20s or whatever, and you don't think as though you're too old for it just yet. I mean, I started when I was a senior, and every music producer that I love talks about how they started in high school, and I'm like, fuck man, like I've missed it. You know, I've missed it. I'm starting when I'm 21. In 3 semesters I'm going to be out of college. I missed it. You know? That thought scared the shit out of me. But you want to know what? I'm still going to do it whether I become a famous music producer or not. Whether that thought, you know, creeps up on me or not, I'm still going to freaking do it. Still going to do it. By the way, this is water, if you didn't know. I'm not even sure if this is in the shot either. I hope so. I hope everything's in the shot. Well, everything that matters is in the shot, you know what I mean? But recently I went and looked at well, no, I'll get into that in a second. Recently, I went and looked at MIDI keyboards. I've never touched a MIDI keyboard or actually really paid attention to a MIDI keyboard. I went to Guitar Center. I went to Guitar Center with my mom recently, and she witnessed somebody steal something and did absolutely nothing about it. So since I'm getting into music production, I want to have like a little MIDI keyboard, because even though with a DAW you can use your keyboard to like produce sounds, I don't know, like it just makes sense to have a MIDI keyboard. It just, just makes sense. So I went to go look at them, and so we were at Guitar Center, and I already said that, but we were there, and I was looking at them, and I was like, oh wow, these actually feel really cool. I've never touched one before, and at one point they were like, they had like a bunch of mixers at the in the middle of the audio part of the store, and I was like, hang on, before we leave, I want to look at these, because even though I already have a mixer, I have a Yamaha MG10XU, pretty great mixer. It definitely does stuff that I didn't think it would do, and there's no point in explaining it because it has nothing to do. It's not really audio wise. It's with the program that I have. Like some of the audio stuff it does is amazing for the program that I have. Anyways, I was looking there and I saw this like one guy go to the headphone section, and my mom watched him go there, and I was just like, whatever. I'm just like, I don't know. Like I'm ADD, so like I don't like when people pass me in the halls, I have to look at every single freaking person. It's hard for me not to, I don't know. It's just, maybe that's not even an ADD thing. I just probably just do that, but I don't know, something I do. So sometimes like if someone's sort of being loud or, walks past me, sometimes I'll just look at them for a second. So he goes over to the audio section, or not the audio section, he goes over to the headphone section, and I then like focused my attention back on the mixers, and I was just looking. I was like, "Oh wow, these mixers are huge, but they're awesome." I don't know. I've had issues. I love mixers, but I've had problems with mixers. So I don't know. I honestly felt like a DJ now that I think about it. I was just twisting knobs. Had no one been there, I would have probably been like, "Yeah, all right, yeah, pump up," like doing what DJs do. Had nobody been there, anybody. And so me and my mom, we eventually walk out the store, and she's like, "Did you see that guy?" And I said, "What guy?" She's like, "The guy that went to the headphones." I said, "Oh yeah, I did see that guy, but I don't whatever." She's like, he like broke into a box of headphones, and you want to know what he's probably gonna do? He was wearing headphones, so he's probably gonna put his headphones in that box of headphones. And I'm like, what? And you're telling me this? Why? Like, why don't you report his ass? Just go back in there. I'm going to stay out here, because I don't want to be affiliated with you when you when you snitch. Ever heard the term snitches get stitches? I don't want to be there, but you can walk in and I'll support you from outside the door. Anyway, she didn't report the guy. But it was so weird. Like the guy did it, and there was probably like 12 people in that section of the store. It's like, what? Why steal there? Which then again, I can't talk shit because I stole a bunch of DS games. Like sometimes when my dad would take me to Target, I would steal DS games. Like what I do, and I do it right in the middle of the store. I would like undo the packaging. I'd pop open the case. I think I was like 8 years old. I'd pop open the case. I would punch out the little card, the little game card, and then I'd slip it into my pocket and then like close the thing. I had one kid witness me do it, and I was like, what the fuck? I just like moved away. And the worst part about it was that I wouldn't even keep the games. Oh, that was my camera. I wouldn't even keep the games. What I'd do is I'd actually give them, I'd like give them to my brother and sister because my brother and sister had a DS. So I'd give it to them, and that is just terrible. That is just the worst thing to do. Yeah, here you go. Here you go, Zach and Reese. I stole these from Target. But I did it. I freaking did it. Which, sorry if this podcast, like, if there's no video for, like, the however long in the podcast. I just didn't feel like getting up and putting the SD card in or whatever. I just need to find an SD card that can last like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Or I just need to figure out, maybe I can like hook up the camera to like my computer some way. I think I talked about this in another episode, but where I can hook it up and it just like, you know, when I hit the record button on the camera, it just records onto my computer instead of an SD card. There's probably a way to do that. I just don't feel like looking it up and buying the cords for it, because right now my entire cord, all my cords honestly look like trash. Like, I have so much shit hooked up and plugged in. Just everything looks awful. Looks like there's a, like, if they were tentacles, it looked as though there's a bunch of hentai going on behind my desk. Just absolutely awful. But anyways. Oh, yeah. So don't steal, is what I'm trying to say. Don't steal at all. I was a bad thief. I stole so much shit. And I was an idiot when I, like, looking back on it, I was a dumbass when I did it. I stole book covers because at the elementary school that I went to, you were required to have a book cover. If not, like, they did something. I don't know what they didn't fine you, but I think they, like, oh, what did they do? I don't think they fined you, but I think they, like, dropped your grade a little bit or something. And I thought all the book covers that people had were, like, dope as hell. You know, and I didn't like the paper book covers, which, looking back on, the paper book covers were awesome because you could draw on them, you know, but I never saw that. I wanted all the cool, nice, like, tiger camo book covers, and so I stole those, put them on top of my bunk bed, and then I had to give them all back. My mom, like, found them. I stole a kid's Pokemon book. Like, this kid was, like, loaning his Pokemon book to this other kid, and I sat near this kid, and this was, like, a Pokédex of all the Pokemons that were ever made and their evolutions all in one book. You know, it was like, as a kid, that's like a gold mine, you know, when it comes to things like Pokemon and cool stuff like that. And a whole encyclopedia is like, I want that. It has descriptions of the Pokemons. It shows their evolutions. It's just cool to have. Stole that out of a kid's little case thing under his desk. And then my dumbass took it back to school the next day. And I tried to erase what was drawn in the book. Couldn't erase it I probably should have put whiteout on it or something. Maybe that would have confused the kid. Took it back. The kid got his book back because I was an idiot and I took it back. I tried to steal a movie. Well, I tried to, almost got the movie. And then went back with my grandmother, like, the next week. Somebody had obviously, you know, put the plastic, like, you know, enclosed the movie again because I had opened the plastic. Went back to steal the exact same movie. Got caught. That was actually the last time that I stopped stealing, was actually the movie time. I tried to, I think it was Star Wars The Clone Wars, and the reason I stole it was that, the reason I stole the fucking movie was because no one would take me to see it. I think I asked my mom and my dad to take me to the movie, and people were like, no, they were like, no, what the, no, I'm not taking you to that fucking movie. And so I was like, oh, fine, you won't take me, I'll just fucking steal it. So I almost got it the first time, and then the second time I got caught. And I remember, like, the two employees were like, one of the employees was like, hey, yo, man. Like, I tried to play it off too. Like, first of all, when I got caught, he was like, come with me. I said, what? I said, what? He's like, come with me. No, bring the movie. And I said, all right. And he's like, I said, what are you doing? He's like, I saw you stealing this. I'm like, psh, what? What? It was open. It was like that. It was like that. You don't even know what you're talking about. I didn't steal that shit. What? I'm like looking around, freaking sweat. Like, you know, I was starting to get pretty heated because I was like, oh, fuck. You know, like, I'm actually in deep shit. And goes over to my grandmother, and this dude's like, your grandson was trying to steal this? And she's just like, Alex, we don't do this. And he, like, they stood there, and then, like, this one employee, like, I guess his coworker walked with him, and he was like, weren't you trying to steal this movie like not too long, like last week? And I said, what? No. Even though I was. No. Are you sure? Yeah, of course. I would know if I was trying to steal something, right? Last week. I wasn't even fucking here last week, bitch. And yeah, so I lied to that, and I actually got away with that. Well, I'm not even 100% sure if I got away with that lie. I think, over the years I thought, that I probably got away with that. Anyways, stole the movie. I thought my grandmother was going to tell me because I was so scared that day. I remember, she took me over to my mom's, and we were right across the street from that Albertsons. Albertsons closed down, by the way, got fucking overrun by Sprouts, so go fuck yourself, dude. Actually, after that, I was so terrified to go into that Albertsons. Anyways, I thought I was going to get my ass beat. Nope. My grandmother decided not to tell anybody. Thank you, G-Ma. And I then took the movie to my dad's house, and I watched it there. I think I watched it once. And after that, I eventually threw it away because every time I'd walk past the little area that I had the movie on, I'd feel, awful. Shit, dude, I got caught. That was terrible. So eventually I just threw it out, and it's gone. I mean, it still sometimes haunts me. Well, not really haunts me. It's just, will come into my brain, and I'll be like, oh, yeah. But I will admit this, that ever since then, I have been terrified. Well, not terrified, but even after I purchase something, I feel like I get scared that, the things are going to go off. You know what I mean? I don't know why. And it's ever since that happened. Ever since I got caught stealing, I have been terrified to walk out the store with a purchased item. I don't know. I need to get over that. That happened when I was 9. I really need to get over that. I need to get over that feeling. So yeah, don't steal. Don't steal. It's very bad. It's very bad. So yeah. I'm really excited to become a substitute teacher. It has been a painful fucking process. Oh my God. It took 2.5, well, not 2.5. 2.5 is too long. It took 2 months to get a reference letter from one fucking person, which I don't even think I got the reference letter from them. So, not to go into too much detail about this. So, I applied for the substituting program in my district. I apply, and I didn't even have to, I guess they liked me so much, I didn't even have to really interview for the job. Which I'm not sure if there might be a second interview, maybe a second interview process or something. So, anyways, I did all my stuff, and the lady was like, you have to get 2 references. You are required to have 2 references, or and if you don't get these 2 references, I can't go to substitute teaching orientation or something. And so one got sent out to one of my old teachers, and she sent a reference letter back for me. Very nice lady. Very, very nice lady. And then they needed one from my old employer, right? So I used to work this one job, and I didn't very much like it. I liked it the first 2 months, and then shit hit the fan with this job. I don't need to go into it, but stuff happened, and then I really hated that job. I couldn't stand that job. And so I tried to get a reference letter from my old boss, and I didn't get a response back. Another request went out, didn't get a response back. I drove to the place, and I was like, I need a reference letter. And I talked to some people, and I guess they still thought that my boss was still employed there. And so they thought that, and well, I don't even know. So I think on the website it said that she was still employed. I asked these people, and one of the ladies calls the building that I worked at, and nobody says that she doesn't work there anymore. And so then I get another email for this one lady who I thought was my boss. Turns out she wasn't my boss, and she gave me the email to my original boss. This is a really confusing thing. She then gave the email to my other boss, or to the boss that I've been trying to get a reference letter from, and I still don't even think I got a reference letter from her. Eventually, the lady that asked for the reference letter, sorry if that was like really fucking mind-blowing, I hope not. Anyways, she said I could ask another like friend for a reference letter. Well, not really a friend, but I asked like a family friend that who knows me pretty well, and she wrote me a reference letter. But Jesus, dude, it took 2.5 months to get one reference letter from one person, which like I said, I don't even think I got a reference letter from her. Don't even think I got it. It's like, what the fuck? Jesus. But the family friend that wrote the reference letter, huge shout out to her. I mean, she doesn't know about this thing, but huge shout out to her anyways, because had she not done that, I would not be going to the freaking substitute teaching orientation. You know, had it not been for her awesomeness, I would still be stuck here, probably like wanting to shoot myself because I can't get a reference letter. I actually had a friend, I had a person in class that was like, in one of my classes, he's a friend, but like, I don't know, like, people probably judge friendships differently. Like, we're like class friendship, you know, we're like class friends, you know what I mean? Ones where we're like, hey, yo, what's up, man, you know? And that's really the only time you say it to the person. You don't really, well, that's the only time you, like, I don't know. Anyways, he was like, hey, you want me to write you a reference letter? It's like, at that point, I think he asked me that week or 2 weeks ago, and I was like, dude, at this point, I'll take anybody to write a reference letter. I would ask a homeless man. I would give a homeless man $100 to write me a reference letter. And then you want to know what I could do? I could film that and make bank off of it. That's a perfect idea. You want to know what? I just gave a perfect video idea. If you are looking to get a reference letter, just give a homeless man $100. Have him write you a reference letter. It might not be a good reference letter, but it's a reference letter. And then guess what? You can film it. And you can be like, I gave a homeless man $100. You can title it that. You can title the fucking video that. Probably make $5,000 off the video because people were like, oh, this person gave $100, but really you have like a little agenda behind the entire thing, which was to get a reference letter. So it's like a double win for you. You get a reference letter as it's actually, I don't know how many wins it is. It's like a triple win scenario. You get a reference letter. You give a homeless man $100 so you feel good, and you film it. Actually, it's a quadruple win because after you film it and you upload it, you make even more bank because you can make a video title that would maybe at a point feel clickbaity, but it's really not because you actually gave $100 to a homeless man. Be sure you follow me on all the links below, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Sorry that there's no cam for like half of this, like, or a quarter of this podcast. Anyways, thank you guys so much for chilling with me today. Sorry that this podcast is a little bit shorter. It's just, first of all, it's getting a little hot in this room, and I've got some stuff I've got to do today. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, wherever you are and whoever's listening to this. And you can hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends if you want. You can follow me on the links below, and I'll see you later this week, I guess. Peace.